Professor Gunjan Soni. He is professor in Malawi National Institute of Technology in Jaipur, India, and he is also a close friend of mine, and my co-author in several papers. And he is a very esteemed, successful researcher in the domain of supply chain management. So thanks a lot, Professor Gunjan Soni, for accepting our invitation and being with us today. So it's a pleasure to host you.
Sure, thanks. So my talk for today is largely based on the IoT applications which are there in logistics arena. So, I mean, we all see the logistics around us. The logistics in our day-to-day life is very obvious, and it affects our life in a large sense. Like we do online shopping. I think, just tell me, Professor Yiğit, how is the culture in Turkey about online shopping? Are people very much conversant about it?
Yeah, actually, it has been increased during the pandemic period significantly. So we prefer now, and there's a great shift from the retailing side also to online shopping. Yeah.
Okay. In Indian conditions, it is very much prevalent. I mean, especially in the cities area. Rural, it's still coming up, but in cities area, it has propagated to greater extent. Almost all the youths, I mean, the youth ranging from age 20 to elderly people till the age 55 are very easily using online ways of shopping. So logistics has changed a lot because of that, especially in Indian conditions, because the density of population is very high. So the logistic companies are able to get a lot of economies of scale because of the high population. They are able to provide those services which might be difficult to offer in sparsely populated countries like US or UK or even in Europe. I'm not sure about the density of I see the density of population in Turkey as well is pretty good. So this kind of business models will thrive over there. I'll just share my slide. So I'll be using a lot of videos while the lecture is going on or the talk is going on. So the premise I'm just trying to create that what we see in our day-to-day lives, the role of logistics. Of course, for manufacturer, it's a different story. But for consumers like us, how does logistic affects us? So if we talk in India, we have hyper-local system where I can place in, let's say I want sugar right now in my groceries. I'm running out of sugar and I have to go, if I have to go to market, I'm going to take another 3 or 4 kilometer hike. I'm telling about my situation. I live in a university campus, so which is big, pretty big. So if I have to get one small grocery, I have to travel at least 3 to 4 kilometers, right? Which will be around 2 miles or so. So rather than doing that, I use an application called Blinkit, which in which what we do is we place an order and it will be delivered within 10 minutes. So, and the cost of transportation, which they charge, is also very marginal. Anything above, so which is very marginal cost, and it is lesser than the cost which I'll be spending in going out and doing the shopping on my own. So this kind of culture is getting very much popular in India, where we actually don't have to step out of our house for purchasing things. Most of the things are delivered within 10 minutes. And that's for simple reason, the density of population is high. And because of that density, they are able to locate multiple facilities. So here logistics is playing a major role, and IoT also, I mean, we'll see how IoT is doing its job over here. So let's see what is IoT is Internet of Things, in which the physical objects are connected with the internet. So what are physical objects? Like if you are scanning, if the object is there, which is on the movement, and you have a sticker or a RFID tag on that object, you can actually tag it in real time. You can track it in real time using those mechanisms, right? So this is one thing. Another physical objects are connected with internet is through cars. Now you can see cars. If I'm sitting in my house and it is very hot outside, so immediately if I step into car, I'll be getting a lot of heat. So the idea would be to start the air conditioner before I step into the car, so that I can get a moderate temperature inside. So I can use my mobile phones to start a car and switch on the AC. So this is like what we are talking about. This is Internet of Things. Further, you see IoT, what it does is it gives you an automation to the business. So from a business point of view, it gives you automation. Like I've just given an example. So similarly in industry, how IoT can provide automation is in different ways, where the sensors are used, and with the help of sensor, you can know the condition of the machine in real time, sitting far away from the machine. And the analytics, maybe if you, let's say, the kind of data which is required to do the analysis of the condition of the machine, you don't have the capability of it. So all the data can be streamed to a third party outside your organization, who have the capabilities of doing the data analysis. So they can do the analysis of that, and the analysis might also be being done at a central server where a human being is not involved. An algorithm is there which is monitoring the machine, and which is possibly located in a different country altogether, and your plant is in a different country altogether. So it can take some action on that, or it can send mails. The algorithm can send mails to the concerned person in the company, where he will be asked to go and look at the machine. So even that is possible. To that extent, IoT is being used nowadays. We see automated robots in warehouse, which are moving things, like Amazon has that. Then it also helps in optimization of people. And how does it help in optimization of people is somewhat like this. Let's say it's a live example which I'm telling. In my city, there is a plant of Bosch, which makes the fuel pump for cars. So on the shop floor, on the machining shop floor, every morning, 20-30 workers will be assembled at the time of the shift. They'll come to the industry and stand on the shop floor, where the supervisor is going to come and allot them places where they have to go and start the work. So job allocation will be done every morning. Now, the problem in such situation is they are losing at least 45 minutes to 1 hour at the starting of the shift only, just because this job allocation needs to be done. So now, can you suggest, I mean, I'll give you the solution of it, but you can also suggest that how can this IoT play a role in this situation? Okay, so I'll just tell you that these people know what they have done is they have made a platform where all the capabilities of the worker are fed in the software, and like on what all machines the worker can work, how much experience the worker is having on what machine. And the job of the supervisor is now easy, because as soon as the worker enters, he'll get a SMS on his phone that certain machine, you have to go on certain machine. So here, the condition of the machine is monitored centrally by the software, and the kind of load which is going to be there, the job allocation on that machine is known a priori before the start of the shift. So the job allocation is done online through the software, or you can say the algorithm. And as soon as the worker reaches the shop floor, he knows where to go. So optimization is being done over here of the people as well as the time, right? And of course, it can be used in analytics, which I've already talked about. So here IoT adds value by establishing data connection with the assets, which helps in driving the business and make it automated. So it is predicted to generate net profits of $8 trillion by the end of 2030 because of the use of IoT in generally in the logistics. So we talk about the warehouse operations, how logistic plays role. What role does IoT play in the warehouse operations? So it helps in doing smart inventory management, like tracking, of course, is one thing. Checking availability of inventory is another thing. And the damages which are there on the inventory, if the quantity mismatch which is there. So all that can be managed easily with the help of IoT-based warehouse management. It also helps in damage detection. As I've already told that if you got cameras in your in the shop floor, which are monitoring the work. So if certain part, and with the help of camera, you are also capturing the part number. So if the part number could be tracked, like if I can see the video of the part being made, if I just type the part number, if let's say customer returns a product saying that the product was damaged when received, they can check whether the damage happened during the production or post-production, or once after it has left the premises. So this is one advantage that they get. Next is real-time visibility. They also get the real-time visibility of the object. Of course, that is evident. Another is the accurate inventory control, which they get, because if you are doing everything digital, the chances of making mistake are pretty less. So it also prevents the wrong delivery. So let me show you one video where you will be able to appreciate some aspects of this. So like we know we have all done this kind of online purchasing, and it may so happen that you may receive a wrong product. So that's what's going to happen here. So the lady had ordered apparel like cloth, and instead she got a deodorant. So this is sort of a mix-up which may happen. So how logistics is being managed with the help of IoT is what's shown over here. So here all the items in your smart warehouse will be tagged with the RFID readers. And the cross verification is going to happen. So here a unique code is being generated while, let's say, you placed an order. So that order will be mapped on the ID of the product, and which will lead to generation of third code which will be used further for shipping. So unique code will be generated, which includes the customer, which includes the part name and the number, and the consignment number. So if mismatch is there, it will get rejected. So as far as analytics is concerned, we can see now that what analytics would be available. So you see here on the left hand side, you see these are the warehouses which are there, and this the order is allotted to in a given warehouse, and we call it a stock keeping unit, and shoes and sunglasses, whatever are there, so they are allotted to a certain warehouse. We can see that this product is going to that warehouse. So you are capturing the real-time data here with the help of those barcodes and RFID readers. Here you're getting the alerts tab. You can also, you will be able to, this is for tracking the object, where is it? So here if we search, we can see where is the object located. And here you can also do further analysis that which of the stock keeping units are the fastest and where is the average cycle time more. That and all can be analyzed in this situation. So this is some information related with the logistics. So this was IoT warehouse which we talk about. Now next is we are nowadays also talking about the safety of the worker, like Industry 5.0. If you are automating everything, where is the human aspect? So this is the another aspect where you might see the role of Logistics 4.0, where in the renewed logistics, we would see what happens to the workers on the shop floor or on the warehouse floor. So DHL is a company which has taken its initiative and they are trying to improve the situation. So what they do is optimization of the asset utilization. So the assets which are there, like forklifts are there and the cranes are there and the trucks are there. So how to optimize the utilization, and it will also help in predictive maintenance of the machinery which is there on the shop floor, and predictive maintenance of not only machinery on the shop floor, production shop floor, but predictive maintenance of the hoisting machines or the kind of machines which are used in warehouses for lifting the objects and moving the objects, and the trucks. So predictive maintenance of that as well. And also ensuring health and safety of the workers at the same time. So what you see over here is a smart warehouse where the workers are moving around with the beacons or the devices which are enabled, IoT enabled devices as sensors, which is on a one way they are monitoring the movement of the worker and at the same time the health of the worker also, if the worker is not feeling fine or not. So let me just share another video which will which tells that what's actually happening in this scenario. So this is a Singapore-based DHL's warehouse. DHL is a delivery partner of many big companies. So it's their warehouse. So here you see that the supervisor is explaining the importance of the system that they have. They're using this sort of a mobile beacon, and they'll be using it in keeping it in their pockets for to be tracked. So real-time tracking is going on. So this kind of device, so they'll also be getting a wearable device, and they are inputting their details when they are entering, and they are not taking a watch which they'll be wearing, which will monitor their heart rate and other things. So this is a supervisor where you see on the tab, the active workers which are there on the shop floor are shown in the red in the application. So he gets to know that who all people are there on the warehouse. So the supervisor also gets a hazard map, that if any hazardous situation is being created in the warehouse where, let's say, a lot of workers are gathered together, so which is a hazardous situation in a warehouse. So he can go and resolve the issue. So an operator is coming on the forklift, and you can see these are blind corners on the warehouse where there is a possibility of an accident. And because they all work on tight schedule of shipping and putting in, loading it and all. So it is quite possible these accidents may happen because of the urgency in the work. So the worker is coming from one side and a forklift is coming on the other side. So it gets a prompt on the sensor that do not go ahead, because they all are connected. All workers are connected with the central server. And the most fatigue alerts are around the lunch time, which is right now. So your low beats per minute may happen, and which will give a signal to the supervisor that these users are or these workers are feeling dizzy and they are not up to the mark right now. So you can see it gives a log that what has happened with this person for some point of time, where this person who was driving the forklift had a very close proximity with one of the workers. So which has led the system to analyze its health. And it seems that the worker is feeling a bit dizzy because of the low beats per minute, low heart rate. So he's going to go and counsel the worker. He's saying that he's tired. So he goes to the worker and meets. So this is one of the example where you can see how it is also only not automating, but creating better working conditions for the workers. So we can look beyond automation if we are talking about IoT. So this was about the health part, health and safety part. Next, we have freight transportation. Freight part, where how does IoT make any significant impact in the transportation aspect? So what you see over here is a very good example. This particular vehicle over here is loaded with the IoT devices. So it is helping in fleet management as well as predictive asset maintenance. So this truck, if you see over here, what are the critical aspects in a vehicle is like tire pressure is one thing, brake sensor is another thing, hitch sensor, which tells that if any unknown person is boarding the vehicle while the objects are en route or not. If the vehicle requires cooling and refrigeration, there is a cooling unit sensor. If the vehicle requires counting of the parts, so there is a cargo sensor. If there is a possibility, or one can see that if there is a possibility of pilferage or stealing while the product is under movement, so for that another door latch sensor is there. And all this data you can see is streamed through internet on a central machine, which is we say the central logistic control machine. So all these data is continuously being streamed, and now one would be able to analyze everything about the consignment, if the cooling was proper or not, if there has been more delay in the there has been unnatural delay in the movement of the product because of the hitching, or if there was the tire was flat in some point of time, or there was rash driving by the truck. So, and if was there any external intervention which has led to reduction in the number of items which were loaded in the truck. So all that data continuously gets streamed. So let's see a video how it is being done in the reality. So IBM provides these kind of solutions with the help of their SAP application.
Loss in the food and pharmaceutical industries alone costs more than $1 trillion a year. Imagine being able to drastically reduce that amount by having the ability to not only monitor the temperature of every package set, but also share that information with all partners in the supply chain. With this unique solution managed on IBM Cloud, we can do just that. Let's see how it works. Using remote IoT sensor technology and document.
So what you see over here is the location of the object, which is there in the yellow color warehouse, or you can say factory. So the object is located in the yellow color warehouse / factory or a facility. Now, this particular object has to go through airline, has to take after getting unloaded from an aircraft, it has to board in the object has to go in a truck, and then from truck it has to go to the destination, which is shown in the green color. This is a cold chain demo, so it is temperature sensitive consignment.
By blockchain, placing an order in SAP.
So what you see over here is the blockchain interface, and in the blockchain interface you can see so the seller or the place from where the part is picked and place where the part has to go. Purchase order number is there, and the net value of the consignment is also given, $9,425. The date of delivery is fixed, that by this date it has to be delivered. The weight of the package is there, and here description is given. Further, the operational aspects will be recorded here, like temperature. So this the underlying idea of this blockchain is that it has to be a smart contract between the seller and the provider, the seller and the consumer, that if the object crosses a certain degree of temperature while being in the transportation, the consignment will be cancelled and will be returned on its own. So consumer will not have to worry about it. So this is the smart contract. Why it is smart? Because whatever data is going to the blockchain, no one can change it. So the seller can't say that whatever the sensors are sending the information in this, it is wrong. Okay, so he has to take the responsibility here.
He triggers temperature and location monitoring of shipments. In this simulation, we track the shipment of an IoT-enabled package that passes through multiple carriers. Blockchain.
So the business contract here is, if the temperature of the package exceeds 45 degrees Fahrenheit, the package must be inspected. The party responsible for the package at the time of temperature increase is held accountable for all the losses. So here you can bring in more accountability in the supply chain also.
Has a smart contract that automatically triggers the return of the package if its temperature exceeds 45 degrees Fahrenheit. According to the simulator, the current temperature is about 40 degrees. Later, we'll see what happens when the temperature changes to 50 degrees. Our first step is to access the SAP application, where we have an existing sales order of a cold chain package. Clicking Deliver from the menu tab triggers the business contract in the UI. Now we load the container onto the plane. We can see the information is being sent to Watson IoT, and the plane's temperature is displayed in green. But let's start the shipment. The blocks in the blockchain are being created here.
So these blocks will be created.
The package is below the 45-degree threshold. We can see a note that the package is compliant. Now, let's transfer the container from the plane to a truck. And now we see that the temperature went up to 50 degrees in transit, which causes an error message to pop up. And the block has been written to the blockchain saying the package is no longer compliant.
Here, the contract is being revoked simply with the use of blockchain technology in logistics. So this is enabled. How it is enabled through IoT is that the temperature sensor is the IoT device which is being used, especially to monitor the contract.
Application automatically triggers the business rule for temperature. And when we click Shipment Complete, we see the message that the package has to be returned to the manufacturer. Temperature, humidity, light, or vibrations. We can track these variables for food, medicine, and much more. The opportunities to tie SAP, blockchain, and an IoT platform together and manage it all on the IBM cloud are endless.
So you see here how the big companies are doing their work in IoT segment. Next is in the line is security. How security in last mile delivery is being, like in logistics, we also talk about last mile delivery, only not on the storage, but the delivery part also. So we track the freight from the point of origin through last mile delivery. So it decreases the chances of theft or the loss of the product on the way. So hence your customer will always get what he wants. And even if he's not getting it, he will know that where can we find that the product has been lost. So it is saving billions of dollars which are being lost in thefts in the supply chain. Then we talk about the last mile delivery, that how the product is delivered. So warehouse, freight transportation, and the last mile delivery. So we are going through a sequence over here. The first, the product was stored and how IoT was playing a role in the storage. Then we talked about how the IoT and blockchain or the digital technologies are doing their job in the freight transportation. And now we talk about the delivery, where how the product was delivered did make sense. So with the help of this IoT, see, now when a certain product is packed, so this information has to be disseminated. So either it has to be done manually that the product has been packed, or it can be done with the help of IoT, where as soon as the packing is being done, the device captures that the packing is complete and it stores the information and keeps on storing information till the complete lot size which has to be shipped is ready. Getting it? So now we will be able to know that at what point of time, immediately at that time, the truck will be available. It's not like the truck would be waiting for another 5-6 hours for the consignment to be ready and then it will be loaded. So companies can save on the man hours a lot, as well as on the fixed cost of the, not on the fixed cost, but the variable cost of the vehicles. So they can save a lot on that. It also is not notifying the customers about the delivery of the object. We know that all of we experience that if we are placing an order on Amazon or if we are placing an order on e-commerce, we now get an SMS as soon as it is delivered, be it you're ordering a food online or something. I'm not sure about Turkey, how relevant is online food ordering. But in Indian cities, it is very much popular that you place an order, food order online. So as soon as it is delivered, whether you have collected or not, you're going to get an SMS that it has been delivered. Flexible delivery address. it offers. Then it also maximizes the return trip. For example, a truck which has just emptied itself, if it is online, if the availability of truck, if the capacity of the truck is available online, let's say this truck was not going totally, is only half empty now because the consignment was for two, three consumers together, was in one truck. So one consumer has unloaded its product. Now the truck is partially full. So if that information of partial availability of a space on a truck is available online, then people can use an application where they can find out if I need to transport so much kg or so much cubic centimeter of a product through a truck. I would get to know that if any empty truck is available right now, I can call that truck to my premises and load my products, which in that case, product is getting the economies of scale because it is going totally full. At the same time, the advantage of keeping small lot sizes will be enjoyed by the companies where the consignment even smaller consignments could be shipped with the help of it. So IoT is again playing a role over here. So that's what generally happens, that this is another one where if you get a new mail, there's a proximity sensor which is going to inform you that there is something in your mailbox and you can then take it also. So this is about the delivery part of IoT. So we can also talk about last mile delivery and automatic replenishment and anticipatory shipping, where last mile delivery, we've just talked that how it can be delivered efficiently at the doorstep. Then automatic replenishment, that simply means that when the product is getting off the shop floor and has completed its cycle in the supply chain, it is out there with the consumer. This data can directly go to the manufacturing plant, and then accordingly, the finished goods inventory can be kept in the warehouse, the rate at which it is being consumed. And sometimes you can also do anticipatory shipping, that a given area might be, the demand is rising and there is an expected more demand from that certain area. So you can, in anticipation, keep the inventory at that location, right? And then there are smart lockers for last mile delivery, where if you got a smart locker and an object has to come, when that object goes inside your locker, you will get an SMS that the object is now stored in your locker. And also delivery on the first attempt is quite possible, that let's say some product had to be delivered and the customer is not available in the house. So it actually incurs extra additional transportation cost. So how can you cut down on that additional transportation cost? Is by ensuring that your GPS location is shared with the delivery partner till the time your object is delivered. So whenever you are available in the nearby area, the delivery partner will be alerted that now is the time to deliver the product. So one doesn't have to give a call also. Then tracking expiration dates. Now we can also talk about what are the success factors of. So before we go ahead, there's one more video. So smart logistics is what we were looking at. Let me just share this one.
Delivering the goods. The story of smart logistics, starring the visual goods tracking solution from Axis and Partners. Smart Logistics is a third-party logistics company. Every day it deals with more than 25,000 packages. 6 months ago, this was how things worked at Smart Logistics. The company scanned goods and packages at checkpoints throughout the warehouse. These scans were recorded in its warehouse management system, so it knew when a package arrived, went through quality check, moved to a shelf, passed an operator station, or left the building.
So it's telling the before implementation situation that you can track the goods, where are they stored and are they in the premises or not and all. But then with the smart solution, it goes ahead
The
of
company
that.
even installs some security cameras to monitor critical steps of the process. Most of the time, everything ran smoothly. However, sometimes a customer filed a claim about damaged, lost, or mispacked goods. Investigating claims took up a lot of time. Smart Logistics needed to find out whether it was responsible for the deviations. And if the company was, it needed to know what had happened, where it happened, and why. Employees could spend hours going through video to find the answers. Sometimes they found what they were looking for. More often, they didn't. With that came the risk of compensation, penalty.
So because even though you have installed video cameras in your premises, it's just not possible to have a look. I mean, you'll have to watch hours of videos to find out anything unusual in the factory, right? So you have to make your sensing of the visuals also smart.
And a loss of customer confidence. To protect its reputation, the company brought in a new system from Axis and its partners, the Visual Goods Tracking Solution. Smart Logistics installed cameras to cover the whole warehouse and integrated a video management system with its existing scanning and warehouse management systems. Today, high-definition cameras capture the goods as they enter.
So high definition, the earlier cameras are now replaced with the high definition cameras, which basically not only takes photographs, they also process the image.
Into the warehouse. Then they record a package's journey through the warehouse, monitor goods at operator stations, and finally capture the packages before they move to the next stage of their journeys. And if a customer files a claim, the claims manager just enters the package's ID. So
like a product was delivered to me. Let's say I ordered television and I say that the television has come broken. There are two things which might happen. I may falsely say that the television was broken. Actually, while unpacking, I broke it. I may say that it came broken. Another could be that it actually broke in the industry. So how does one verify it?
To find all the video for that package. When Smart Logistics is responsible.
So here, as soon as you enter the part number, it will give you all the clips of that particular part number and what all things it went through, not the complete. You don't have to watch the whole video. Maybe this part was moving only for 15-20 minutes in the warehouse. So from all the cameras, it will get you pictures and the videos of that particular part.
For a deviation,
you can see in the camera number 4, the part was shown to be fallen down from the conveyor belt. So hence we can say the damage might have done in the premises, manufacturing premises only. So we can give the compensation to the consumer now.
Immediate action to prevent the same mistake from happening again. And
so this actually gives more confidence to the consumer, and it also gives more confidence to the manufacturer towards offering such replacements or refunds.
It's not responsible. It can quickly prove it to customers. Smart Logistics knows and can prove exactly what's happened to each package in its care. What's more, it's reduced the number of claims it faces and the resources spent on investigating those claims. The company has enhanced its reputation, the full transparency service, based on the visual.
So it enhances the transparency in your supply chain.
Tracking solution from Axis and its partners. Find out more about the Axis.
Yeah. So I'll continue. So what are the factors which are responsible for IoT success in logistics and supply chain management is that it's providing standardized global approach to the shipping and seamless interoperability for exchanging sensor information, which basically means that, let's say the package is moving from Turkey to India. So there should be no, because of IoT, the devices generally are working on common protocols or the language. So there will be no language barriers, or it's like this system is workable in Turkey and not in India. That will not happen with the help of IoT, because it is based on open source, not proprietary solutions. So they are more modifiable, manageable, and the language, the common protocols which are there with which these devices are made across the world. So see the interoperability is seamless. Then the establishment of data ownership and overcoming. So one thing is that you can see that a lot of data is being shared across the supply chain in the logistical data. So one may also question about the secrecy and the privacy of the data and who's going to own the data. So if the data ownership issues are clearly solved, then they become the success factors. And also standard architecture, there is a lot of focus on making these devices and establishing these IoT-based devices in logistics on standard architecture. That is the standard format. And so change in business format is needed. So we can say challenges in IoT is that proprietorship on the use of sensors. Of course, you get proprietorship on the use of the boards on which the IoT devices are mounted, but the sensors which are made are still not open source. And another problem is the standardization of the hardware and the software is required that across the globe. And they should be using common language and the common hardware on which the IoT devices are made. It also, because the data is continuously streamed, so you need mass storage, like you have to purchase cloud space like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft services like that. So mass storage of the data is an issue over here. So you can imagine the kind of data which is being captured now. Also, it makes your system hackable. It makes your system vulnerable towards the cybercrime. So that is one downside of it. So cybersecurity becomes a major issue, right? What does the research say that how IoT is coming up? So nearly 90% of companies from logistics and transport have already started using IoT solution, especially after COVID. And more than half of respondents expected that Internet things will improve the supply chain. So they are showing confidence in the use of Internet of Things. And 40% of respondents expect that IoT will help companies in increasing their level of safety and cost effectiveness. As we have seen that what do they mean by the level of safety and cost effectiveness? And key technologies when we are talking about implementation of IoT would be Wi-Fi connectivity. So these are all infrastructural requirements, sensors and near field communications, where near field communications, one of the best example of that is your debit card or your credit card, where you don't have to actually swipe it. Also, you can just wave it around the swiping machine and the transition will be done. So near field communications. And it's also reported that nearly 40% of respondents expressed their concern about privacy and information security. So that is one of the greatest obstacles. They also indicate there is high complexity of the solutions, and because it will require investment, so they find it risky to invest in that. So with the concluding slide, let's see how digital, we didn't talk about big data or the data analytics part, because data analytics comes after the data has been captured. Like IoT devices are there now. IoT sensors are there, data is being transmitted, yes, and data is being captured and it is being sent to the server. Now, what happens there and how the companies are using it? So this is my probably last slide, where we talk about how Maersk a very big player in nautical background, where how they are using IoT and big data to leverage their supply chains.
Transporting 15% of the world's GDP, century-old Maersk Line is voyaging full steam ahead towards digitization, using the Internet of Things, data, and analytics to change its culture and strengthen the global supply chain.
So we're a company that has a very large cost base. We have some vessels that need fuel, and they themselves are not cheap. So we have a lot of money invested that is tied up in our assets. And so analytics really plays a large part in trying to reduce the cost associated with operating our vessels and our network and our equipment. So yes, we have on top of having a very complex business model, we also have, fortunately, a lot of low-hanging fruits and opportunity to really drive value through analytics.
That complex business model includes over 600 vessels and millions of containers traveling.
So you can see here the large number of vessels and millions of containers, they'll all be sending the data. So the size of the data would be very large.
To nearly 350 ports in 121 countries, 365 days a year.
Maersk Line actually operates a global network of two types of assets. We have both the ships and we have the containers. And while the containers, at least the refrigerated ones, run to roughly 250,000, and they're equipped with sensors.
Those refrigerated containers, or reefers, actually date back to 1936 for Maersk, but now, decades later, they are modernized and outfitted with sensors, giving Maersk the ability to monitor the location, the temperature of the cargo, and opportunities for critical maintenance.
We have to inspect and investigate containers at the end of each journey, especially the refrigerated ones. So we use the sensor data to actually evaluate how should we approach each of those tasks. A bit like a patient going to the doctor, but you actually know what the symptoms are before they turn up.
Spending more than $1 billion a year moving empty containers back and forth, Maersk Line is using data and analytics to automate and optimize where empty containers go next.
When we have to relocate all our empty containers, the historic model has been that you have depots around the world. And in each of those depots, they actually themselves individually assess what's my need for empties right now to have available to customers. And that model can be made more efficient. So what we're building from the analytics side is actually a whole automated process for them that does that job. It assesses how much they need, and it also automatically makes sure that those containers are routed to them so that they have that stock that is required without going too far.
Maersk is digitizing global assets for the future in fuel economy, voyage optimization, reefer containers, and empty container optimization. It's a journey requiring a strong commitment and culture to data-driven principles.
So they are largely improving their solutions. They're largely basing their operations, logistical operation, on the data. Data-driven.
It's very strong in us, and we have a culture that encompasses a couple of core values. I think the most apparent ones in our everyday work is humbleness and uprightness. So it's about actually always being open to others' ideas and to listen, partly. And partly to always say what you mean and mean what you say, and actually be very forthright in sharing your views and committing to whatever's decided. And I think both those values lend themselves really well to the analytics journey, because it's all about actually embracing new ideas and actually listening and letting yourself be convinced by objective fact.
So he's emphasizing on the change over here, like the old system which are there now, they should be flexible, and the people should be flexible enough to adopt these new changes.
Helping others to actually deliver that value afterwards.
Looking to the future, Maersk wants to give the analytics and data to their customers, giving them more insights and control over their supply chain while creating new revenue streams.
I think for us, the next stage is then to commercialize it, is to actually take all that sensor data and make it available both from a transparency point of view to customers, but also for actions. Because you can probably imagine that if a customer had the ability to change the air pressure or the humidity or the temperature or the O2 CO2 distribution within the container, they can actually engage with their goods while they're in transit, and that completely changes the value proposition to them.
Maersk Line, using the Internet of Things, data and analytics to change their culture and strengthen the global supply chain.
So we see here that the shipping companies are pretty much big into using IoT in their operations and then using it for big data. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. If you'd like to discuss anything further. So, I mean, the whole idea was that you can think of doing some research in these domains also, largely, which is pretty not explored to that extent on the research side. Of course, in practice, it is happening, but then we can work on what are the theories which are, like we say, perceived risk. So small and medium enterprises, how do they perceive the adoption of IoT technology in their logistical operations? Why it is not, if they're doing it, then what are the success factors? If they are not doing it, what are the impediments? What are the perceived risks involved? So there's one thing which you can do. Then you can further use it for developing optimization models, as I talked about, the manpower allocation or different type of preventing the theft. So how much do you want to invest to optimize the process? So these all things can be done, yeah. So Professor Yeet,
thank you very much, Professor Gunjan. It was a very nice in-depth presentation. So you have explained and, you know, described perfectly, and, you know, we really learned many new things. So in the first part, you have explained and you emphasized the occupational health and safety issues within warehouse operations. So it was also very valuable. You touched the, you know, social sustainability aspect and especially worker safety. It was so meaningful because nevertheless in warehouses we face with significant health issues or, you know, accidents, sometimes fatal accidents even. So it was very valuable, you know, researchers or students can focus in this area, which is not that much revealed or studied within the literature, as far as I have seen. And the second part of your presentation, you mentioned another very important point in freight transportation issues from blockchain and smart contracts. It was also available. I really enjoyed the part where you show a real blockchain, how it operates, you know, in case of a violation of those temperature standards and regulations. It was also very nice. Smart contract, yeah. So in that case, not only limited within a company, but, you know, with all stakeholders, or let's say with all stages of the supply chain, it can be incorporated and implemented. It was very important. Thank you. And in the final part, you mentioned the last mile delivery, which is, you know, a phenomenon which has increased and gained a huge impact during pandemic, as you have mentioned at the beginning of your presentation, due to the increase in, you know, e-trade, e-business models. It's very important to successfully achieve, you know, delivery at once in a single stage. So it was also very nice. And the final part of your presentation, you mentioned the barriers or challenges and also impediments or, you know, drivers of implementing those digital technologies. So today we also have professors from logistics, from MIS department, from various universities, as well as PhD students. So I think it will be very much valuable for their future research. Yeah. And I would like to kindly request our participants, if they do have any question to Professor Gunjan Soni, Melissa, Professor Urania Areta, or Professor Oya. Yes, please stay. You may ask. Professor Oranya? Yeah, please.
Hi, everyone. I would like to thank you. Nice to see you, first of all. Thank you for the presentation. I come from a management information systems background, but my research area has to do with supply chain. So I'm trying now to combine digitalization of supply chain. This is my new focus. Internet of Things is quite an important element when it comes to digitalization. I was a bit find it interesting because I have been using also this example in my courses, IBM's effort to employ blockchain into food safety and supply chain overall. And I know there has been a project between IBM and Walmart towards this direction. I have never thought the contribution of Internet of Things in this element, so it was quite good on this. I had in my head every time that Internet of Things is just a means to extract data or to read data, because in our field we think that the reality is that we use every time an information system, a software, but Internet of Things can be a kind of good supportive tool for this work. You mentioned, for example, at the beginning, the warehouse management software, and how it can be combined with Internet of Things infrastructure to extract data from this. So thank you for your presentation, and I noted down some videos that can be used also for teaching affairs.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Nice to get connected with you, and hopefully some aspects would be useful in further your work.
It's just I have been using examples for Internet of Things to explain to the students for the smart city or a smart house or a smart campus element. But there are quite a lot of applications into business affairs. The only problem that we have seen, especially because you mentioned at the end for SMEs, I'm not sure what's the status in India, but in Turkey, and especially this was very too much underlined, highlighted during COVID, that there is a lack of skills and knowledge of what type of tools SMEs can use, digital tools, to enhance their operations. They don't know what's available and how it can be used. And this gap was very intensified with the COVID, and all what you said, for example, that, and Hoja also mentioned at the beginning that COVID transformed operations into more online environments from especially e-commerce. And this revealed the gap that small companies have. So there has to be kind of, sorry, my battery is going down. There has to be a kind of acknowledgement to them. I mean, for them to be informed of what Internet of Things is a very good way.
So actually, like big companies can do supplier development. Like big companies, if they want to actually make the full use of IoT and all, they have to do supplier development, more activities where some suppliers are generally of SMEs, right? So SME suppliers, they can do the development programs. Actually, it happens in India, in the places where agglomeration of industrial estate is there, like big plants are there, and then they developed their own suppliers. So it is being practiced in not throughout India, but many dispersed parts of India. We see this is happening where they're training the suppliers with the use of the new technologies.
Nice to meet you. It would be nice to work with you. I mean, I'm going to get your contact details from Dr. Yeet.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. And I've taken down your name, so I'll send a LinkedIn connect with you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Sure. Nice. So nice.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Oranya. And okay, I think we're approaching to the end of our presentation. So thank you very much, my dear colleague, my dear friend,
Yeah,
Professor Gunjan Soni, for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So hope to see you, hope to host you in our future events. And once again,
sure.
It was a pleasure to be with you, to host you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stay.